Check this shit out, mofo!
Oh no, this door's mine!
This class is the spot of the devil. No good shall come from it.
Dude, Lee, you're not my bro anymore.
Stress-free is the way to be. The only true contraceptive is abstinence.
Naruto has always had a memorable and colorful cast of characters. Kankuro, Minato, Obito.
Jotaro.
Oop, not that one. But there's not one, but two highly memorable characters, two fan favorites that I just absolutely despise. I'm Sin7 and welcome to the channel. I thought I'd fill you in on why I think that Rock Lee and Might Guy are poorly written side characters that have way too much screen time in the Naruto series. And before you hit that dislike button, could you at least watch the cool intro? All aboard the Blue Dragoon!
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. Here we go again. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. Here we go again.
This is Tom from Tsunami, and you're listening to Sin7.
Now let me start this by saying by no means am I saying Rock Lee and Might Guy are weak. By now, if you're a part of the anime community on Twitter, you've probably seen Rock Lee vs. Gaara at least once a week. No, I'm saying quite the opposite. Guy and Lee are very strong, maybe even too strong. Rock Lee is a very interesting character within the world of Naruto. Lee lacked the necessary skills to perform ninjutsu and genjutsu, unlike many other aspiring ninja in the Lee village. That means no cool, superpowered gang signs or Jedi mind tricks for this guy. However, a charismatic and eccentric leaf ninja named Might Guy was able to give Lee a special training in the art of taijutsu. While genjutsu allows its user to play mind tricks, and ninjutsu allows its user to do, well, all sorts of cool stuff from fireballs to gender-bending nosebleed bonanzas, taijutsu focuses on good old-fashioned punchy punches and kickity kicks. Lee was laughed at by his peers and after graduating the academy, joined Team Guy along with his partners Neji Hyuga, peace up to the big homie, but we'll get to that later, and Tenten. Lee vowed that with his training from Guy, he would become a powerful ninja without any fancy-smancy ninjutsu or hypno-toad no jutsu. Neji didn't take him seriously, but Lee would never give up. Now, after this short intro, what's weird about his backstory? I'll tell you what's weird. The show's called Naruto, but it sounds like Lee could easily be the main character. I mean, if you throw him in My Hero Academia, he's 2 seconds away from being Deku at the very beginning, but either way, let's continue. Might Guy Jr. and his unbending will always seemed off to me because when reading the manga during the tuning exams, it's established that Rock Lee actually has a crush on Sakura when fighting off the sound ninja that were attacking her. By the way, Dosu was so cool, man, he deserved way more. That's weird, because Naruto has a crush on Sakura. The main character of the show? The character this show is literally named after? We all know Sakura ends up with Sasuke, but without the hindsight of Boruto, this was a huge thing to me. This guy, who isn't that far off from Naruto with the failing to be good at jutsu, being laughed at, etc., also has a crush on the same girl that Naruto does? Let's just say I let that slide, okay? Whatever, we continue.
Hey you, with the attitude, hold on.
Huh?
During the Chunin exams, Rock Lee got ahead of himself and got the hots for wanting to challenge Sasuke to a battle to see how well he'd do against the Sharingan. Honestly, I love this part at the beginning of Naruto Ninja Council too. Anybody else love those early Ninja Councils? Let me know in the comments below. Now, if you know nothing about Naruto, let me tell you one thing. Sasuke is Naruto's greatest rival. You know, the guy that's the main character but doesn't sound like the main character because of how much stuff this Rock Lee guy is doing. In his attempt to fight Sasuke, Rock Lee knocks Naruto out of the way to get to him. Now this is early Naruto. Naruto is by no means strong yet, and this is played for comedy, but still, when you really get to thinking about what this guy, who isn't one of the main characters, is doing, maybe you've started noticing an issue. If you haven't, that's what I'm here for. Lee fights Sasuke and tries to hit him with one of his techniques, the front lotus, and Guy steps in and punishes him for what he's done. So, backtracking a bit, some of you may say, well, he did the same thing to Dosu and it didn't work, plus he was defeated. That is true, but why was Lee the one who got to show off at that time? There were other characters that barely got any shine that could have done it. Sasuke got to show off right after that, but the common denominator is Lee. Lee gets to show off for a bit, but somehow gets defeated, only for another character to take over. Whether he wins or loses, the common denominator is Lee, and that's what I'm getting at. Now, enter my favorite character in all of Naruto, Gaara, the dark side to Naruto's coin, a Jinchuriki with an arguably darker past than Naruto's and a psychotic edge to him. As a kid, I loved Gaara. Not only did I relate to him, but his character arc is immaculate. It's basically just Naruto's but faster, leaving him with the important role of kicking off Shippuden, but that's a video for another time. The Chunin exams is one of the greatest arcs in anime history, and many anime do their own little version of it to this day. It was well known for its one-on-one battles between the cast of Naruto who at this point haven't had their powers and dynamics explored yet. So when this new character is introduced, and I finally get to see him in action, who does he happen to fight? Rock Lee. Now, if you recall, I did say that you've probably seen this fight a million times by now. Reason being, when Gaara was introduced, he was portrayed as this psychopath with an unbreakable shield. Nothing could get through his sand barrier. It was impenetrable. He had never been touched. So of course, Rock Lee had to be the one to get through. This was probably the first time I really started to lose my mind when it came to Lee. This is just not good character writing. If you fast forward a little bit, Naruto had to fight Gaara as well. Two characters with similar backstories but on drastically different life paths, having a huge epic clash to see if Naruto could smack some sense into Gaara, or if Gaara was too far gone and too far out of control, lost to Shukaku. Now I don't know about you, but to me, a lot of the tension of this fight was gone. Lee had ruined it for me because Gaara was this unbeatable monster, but that was immediately ruined in his fight with Lee. Now I know what you're thinking. Sin, Lee lost the fight to Gaara and he was hurt pretty bad. Yes, and while that's true, does it matter if he was able to beat on Gaara too? How much cooler would it have been for Gaara to be established as this cold-hearted, unbeatable monster and show him being just that, and possibly not even breaking a sweat against Lee, even when the weights came on. Lee was the guy that had to be stopped from fighting Sasuke, the village protege. The guy that dodged every attack our main character threw at him and tossed him aside like a joke. If he would have gotten defeated easily by Gaara, even when going all out, that would have made the fight that Naruto would have against Gaara much more intense, because Gaara would seem way stronger at that point. Naruto went on to defeat Neji in his match in one of my favorite moments from Naruto, so it's not like Naruto would be coming out of nowhere with the strength he needed to beat Gaara if he would have demolished Lee. He would have shown that he was up for the challenge with his win over Neji, and the fight with Gaara would have meant so much more. But I digress. Now to bring up Dragon Ball for a quick second, a lot of people don't like that Vegeta has become the appetizer for every Goku battle. A villain comes, they show how strong they are by beating Vegeta, then Goku has to step in, and there are some Dragon Ball fans that don't like this formula. However, I'm bringing this up to say that if my previous point of saying Gaara should have demolished Lee reminds you of the Vegeta issue in Dragon Ball, Rock Lee should not be equivalent to Vegeta. If anything, the closest thing that we have to a Vegeta in the Naruto series is Sasuke. Sasuke should be having these character moments, not Rock Lee, and it'll become more apparent later in the video. But we're not done with Lee yet, and my guy is right around the corner. I didn't forget about you boys, stay right there! Let's take a quick commercial break and come right back, shall we?
On the next all-new episode of Naruto,
Let's do this.
Lee's come to Sakura's rescue,
What trick has he got up his sleeve now?
but is his heart writing checks as fists can't cash?
Stop it!
Someone's gotta step up.
This thing's about to get really ugly.
Catch an all-new episode of Naruto next Saturday at 9.
Say so long, kid.
Hell hath no fury. Only Toonami on Cartoon Network.
Okay. Whew. Almost done with Lee, then we're on to Guy. Now Lee was seriously messed up. He had broken bones, torn up muscles, his body was wrecked after his fight, and I was okay with this. If he was going to almost be an unbeatable guy, this was the least that could have happened. He was told he may not be able to do taijutsu again, but Lee had some surgery despite thinking he'd die and despite being scared, but makes it through. Now normally, this would be the end of his arc. Any other sane anime would end this character's arc right here. He's done enough. We're good. It's over. Relax. But this is Rock Lee we're talking about, and he's not finished at all. He just had to get me mad one last time. Lee, having just recovered from surgery, finds out that Gaara and Naruto are fighting Kimimaro and goes to help them after being told he may never fight again. This comes into play when I talk about guys, so keep that in mind. He finds the pair mid-battle and tells Naruto to go chase his best buddy Sasuke, while he and a newly changed Gaara take on Kimimaro. Now Gaara is my favorite Naruto character overall. But you want to know who my favorite Naruto villain is? You guessed it, it's Kimimaro! First of all, Kimimaro has such a cool design. His Kekkai Genkai is one of the most unique, but also so fun to look at due to its gruesome yet cool nature, since he's ripping his bones from his body to use his weapons, or having them stick out to use his armor. He's of the Kaguya clan, making him one of the only connections to the final boss of the Naruto series, who was otherwise just some random lady. His curse mark gives him the second coolest transformation, second only to Ultimate Sasuke, who I really wish we would have seen more than like 2 times. And finally, if he wasn't ill, those kids would indeed be super DED dead. Now, if you know about Naruto, you probably know why I'm upset by now. And if you're a Rock Lee fan, this is probably one of your favorite Lee moments. I'll tell you what, it actually hurts me not to like this moment. You see, when Lee arrives, he attempts to battle Kimimaro as that's what he showed up to do. At first, Kimimaro's tagging him up. He's not having it with this ninjutsu-less noob. But what happens next was the last straw for me. Lee made a mistake and thought he was drinking some medicine, but actually it was some sake. Rock Lee then began to not only fight Kimimaro, but overpower him while drunk. Now I understand Rock Lee is a walking reference. He is not only a reference to Bruce Lee, whom I love and studied a lot on, but this particular fight is a reference to Jackie Chan's drunk fighting scene from The Legend of the Drunken Fighter. I love Jackie Chan as well. In fact, Jackie Chan vs. Benny the Jet is one of the greatest and one of my favorite live-action fight sequences in any live-action film ever. The references aren't lost on me. They're from 2 legends that I love, so why do I hate it so much? Rock Lee doesn't win! Again! Rock Lee didn't win against Sasuke due to interference, he didn't win against Gaara, even though he gave him the work, even though Gaara was supposed to be untouchable. He didn't win with his accidental technique against Kimimaro, yet he's played up to be this overly powerful young ninja that doesn't need any ninjutsu or genjutsu to beat his opponents. He isn't doing anything, yet he's receiving all this screen time. For all the fights with crucial characters to the story he's getting, he doesn't have the wins under his belt to show for it. Yet and still he's allowed to mess them up real good whether he wins or not. To go back to my Vegeta point earlier, Vegeta only has the upper hand for a moment and quickly gets put in his place when he gets too cocky. Lee will have more than the upper hand but gets snuffed for the win every time. But again, I should not be comparing Rock Lee, a side character, to Vegeta, a main character, and the fact that they are even comparable is what's wrong with this character. Kimimaro activates his curse mark and transforms, fighting Gaara for a bit in a spectacular battle before succumbing to his illness and dying. Now if Kimimaro wouldn't have been sick, I firmly believe that he could have killed both of them, and that's what I love about the character. He was a serious threat for the time, but as with most serious threats that can easily kill main characters, Kishimoto made him sick so they die mid-fight. Now that got me real mad, but long story short, that's the last crime Rock Lee would commit against me. However, that's exactly why I don't like what was done with him. We're in Shippuden territory now, and I'm about to get into Guy, but before I do, I'll say this. I kept comparing Rock Lee to Vegeta and saying that this shouldn't be possible because Rock Lee isn't a main character. Vegeta from the Saiyan Saga onward didn't go anywhere. He was there for everything and could usually be found by Goku's side. The main reason I hate Lee is because he went through all of those things and disappeared. Lee was barely anywhere to be found in Shippuden. This man did nothing. There isn't one crazy thing that Lee did. Remember, I said that we come back to 10-10? How many memorable moments from 10-10 do we have? Tenten getting her teeth kicked in by Tamari, and that's it. She's on the same team as Lee. If you wanted to give Lee more screen time, how about some time where he teaches Tenten a thing or two and she has like a really awesome battle or something? In the OG Naruto, everyone seemed to have one bright and shining moment, but Lee had many, and overall it was too much. Too much for someone we wouldn't even hear anything from afterwards, proving that it was all a waste. This video ended up being a huge chore to edit, and my software just wouldn't cooperate with me, kind of like Naruto and Sasuke in that first training exercise, so this is going to have to be a two-parter. Next time, we'll be tackling the springtime of youth himself, Might Guy. Until next time, see you later, Space Cowboy.